everybody, Brandy at Gentle Grace Trying. Hope you're having a great day. This week I really want to talk about how I do my meals and how I'm able to do it with only having to cook 2 or 3 times a week, but yet my family gets a good hot home cooked meal 6 or 7 nights a week, depending on where the budget's at and what we've got going on. So some of my huge tips are, first of all, find your favorite recipes for your family that they really enjoy. If you have kids or a picky husband, or like seasonally, like right now it's fall and getting into winter, honestly, and so I love soups. They're really healthy, so I do a lot more soups in this season. Just start there with your favorite recipes. I touched on it a little bit last week on I keep my recipes sort of all on Pinterest, and that's where I go to, but I created a Made It and Loved It board. And so that's something that's on my Gentle Grace Trying Pinterest board. You can look for me there, and you can go there to get some good ideas, but in general, just go to your Pinterest if you have it, or go to where you keep all of your cookbooks. And if you want to do it electronically, you can create a G Drive, Google Drive account that you can take the pictures of it and leave it there, and then a little folder, my favorite recipes, and then everything's just taking pictures. Or do Pinterest like I do, and we made it and we loved it, and that's just a place that I go to, or like favorite recipes, whatever you want to call it. Or like I said, my mother-in-law does, she has this like magical binder that she keeps everything, and that works for her. So do what works for you. This is just what works for me. And on Gentle Grace Trying, I have that board available to you so that you can go see like what I like. I've got like a pasta recipe on there that I use a pot like this, and I make pasta sauce, and like I don't have to make pasta sauce for like a good 6 to 12 months after I do it, because that's a lot of pasta sauce. I don't always use my pasta sauce from scratch. It just, if I take the time and then I portion it out, and I've got it in my freezer forever. So first, go to your recipes, figure out what you like. We are a family of 5, but my kids are young, and so an 8x8 pan, and I didn't have any extra because I'm going grocery shopping tomorrow, but an 8x8 like foil pan is enough food for my family for a meal. My oldest, who's 7.5, is starting to eat a little bit more, but really the 3-year-old doesn't eat much. She kind of fights us. And so she's like loaded up on spinach and corn, or cucumber, or whatever we have as a veggie, really, because she's just being picky, and I'm not making her something extra. That's just a choice that we've made in our family. She has to try it, but she doesn't have to eat the whole thing, and if she's hungry, she waits till breakfast. So I find that like an 8x8 pan is working for me now. I know in the future that like a 9x13 is going to be having to be something that I'll have to do. The other thing is these containers. I got them from Wegmans, but you can get them from Target or anywhere. Are these little circular containers, and they hold, you really shouldn't fill it up past 36 ounces, because if you're going to freeze this, when you freeze something and it expands, and you can push it a little bit, but I've definitely pushed it too much where it's like kind of popped up and exploded a little bit in my freezer and caused a mess. But they're great and circular, and they pop into my Instant Pot, which I'll get into detail. So it can just go from frozen to cooked in about 30 minutes for like a soup or something that's more saucy, like pasta sauce or whatever. So start with your recipe, and then know your portions of your family, of what's reasonable. I don't really like to have a lot of leftovers in my fridge. We don't do well with leftovers. We try Monday nights, because I shop on Tuesdays, for that to be our leftover night. I prefer to have, like, if there's a little leftover from a, zucchini lasagna that I made last week, that'll be like my lunch one day during the week. It's pretty much all that's left. But if you're a family that likes leftovers, I would suggest doing the 9x13 pan. Or if you've got older kids, bigger kids, a husband that has a massive appetite, and you guys tend to eat more, then do 9x13. But what I find is, so I have my recipe, I say 4, but I'm really only doubling my recipe, because I find that for an 8x8, all of the recipes usually call for like a 9x13 preparation for like a lasagna or an enchilada or whatever. But if I go 8x8, I'm actually cutting the recipe in half. So it's like the cook once, eat twice rule. I think Rachel Ray kind of made that popular. The cook once, eat twice, but I just separate it into 2 different meals. So there will come a day where I'll have to probably spend double and do the 9x13, but I still want to do 4. Because if I'm going to assemble chicken enchiladas and I'm going to cook, I'm just going to cook more and assemble now. 1 goes into my like glass or Pyrex, whatever, 8x8 into the oven, and the other 3 get assembled into these little dealy bobs. I cover them with foil twice, and then I write on them, like chicken enchiladas was made, and I write the date and then the instructions. So it's gonna need to be thawed and then cooked at 400 for 20 to 25 minutes, covered, done. So that my husband can grab it really quickly and know how to pop it in, and I don't have to look up a recipe on how to, you know, what was that temperature? What was it supposed to be baked at? It's just there. I've tried labels. I did once a month meals for a really long time, which helped me get on this journey of getting comfortable to a place where I could hack it and do my own thing, not have to pay for their membership. But if you're a beginner, it's a great, I'll do a link to it. It's a great resource of recipes. If you have dietary restrictions, like you're paleo or you're dairy free, you can put it in there and look up recipes, click them, how many people you're cooking for, and then it'll give you your shopping list, and then you've got like a prep day and a cook day, and it walks you through step by step what you should do. That stopped really working for me because I'm like, I don't have a whole weekend anymore because I work on Saturday or on Sunday, to devote to cooking, even if it was once every 2 months, or it says once a month meals, but it was every 2 or 3 months for our family. And so I sort of figured out my own thing. So figure out your portion, figure out your recipes, figure out your portions, and get your right tools. So I've tried a couple different ways for like soups, or there's this Mongolian beef that my family really loves. It's like saucy, that's gonna go in an Instant Pot or a crock pot. And instead of doing what Once a Month Meals suggests as the Ziploc bags, and I was buying the Ziploc brand bags, I knew smart enough not to go cheap out on it, they were still busting open, guys, like in the corner when they were defrosting, or they were like super wonky when they were in the freezer. And we will take a tour of my freezer towards the end of this. But these circular little puppies, like, it's not an awkward, I was like taking a Ziploc bag and like shoving it into weird things to try to get it into the circular shape of my Instant Pot. I'm like, this is too much. We need to figure out a better way. BPA free, microwaveable, freezable, and they've got the little top on it, and it goes in here. So I'll make a double batch of my chili, and we'll eat it that night, and then I will fill up 3 of these, and then I will take my, it was over there, sorry, it was supposed to be over here, masking tape. Dollar Tree masking tape. I've tried a couple different ways, Post-it notes or writing directly on, I wrote directly on some of these. That was just silly. It doesn't leave any residue behind. It's $1 for this big, huge guy, and a Sharpie. And I just write chili and the date. And then it gets stacked nicely in my freezer. And I love organization, so my freezer looks like nice and crisp and clean and organized. So we've got a bunch of stacks of these for soups and stews. We've got a bunch of stacks of these for all of those things. And then I also do lunches this time of year, the cold season, for my husband and I. And I found on Amazon, and I can link it also, these great little containers that can go directly from the freezer, BPA free, directly from the freezer to the microwave, and then like cook it for 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and you've got hot soup for lunch or whatnot. So that's kind of how we deal with lunches. So you've got your recipe, you know that you're going to double it. Only do 2, max 3 recipes in a week. And I found that it's so cut down on my budget for groceries. I was spending a good $200 to $250 a week on groceries, and like we eat fairly clean by way of like not a ton of packaged goods, or you know, my kids usually have like eggs and toast for breakfast instead of cereal, and we keep cereals for lunches, and that's something that we'll talk about down the line. I mean for snacks. But I was like, how is it? I don't understand. But it's trying to prepare 4 or 5 meals and we're just eating just for that week, and I was spending so much money. Now that I'm in this habit, it's amazing. You don't spend nearly as much in your grocery budget because you're only buying for, let's say you're doubling your chili recipe, so you're gonna buy a larger thing of kidney beans, which is probably, you know, a fraction of the cost of buying just one kidney bean, and then, you know, you're gonna make the same chili, let's say 2 weeks from now, and you're buying the other thing of kidney bean. You're just saving because you're buying in bulk, still at your stores. I don't go to Costco, still at Aldi, still at Wegmans, but you know, instead of buying the diced tomatoes in the small 14 ounce, I'm gonna do the 28 ounce because I'm doubling it. So the more you buy, it's only like 20 cents more for twice as much, something like that. Hi Hurley, Hurley's hanging out with me over here. You're gonna save a ton of money. Buy the family pack of meat instead of just a pound. At my Wegmans, I buy my ground beef from Wegmans, not from Aldi. Buy my chicken from Aldi, ground beef from Wegmans. And it's $2.99 for the 90%, 10% fat ground beef family pack. $2.99 a pound. Yeah. It is $4.49 for 1 pound. So you're pretty much paying for a 2-pound price for one. But I don't buy ground beef that often because I'll buy a 5-pound bag of it. I'll use 2 pounds for a recipe, and then I'll freeze in a freezer bag the 1 pound individual, and I'll weigh them out on a scale. I have like just a normal, you know, kitchen scale. I'll weigh out a pound of beef and stick it in a freezer bag, and it's thin. And when we go in there, you'll see like a little tour. And it'll defrost quickly, and I'll just write down 1 pound of ground beef. So when I'm gonna make taco soup this week, I know I've already got my ground beef. I bought it 3 weeks ago when I made my chili in the family pack of beef and saved a lot of money. And it's one less thing I have to buy this week. Hurley, honestly, the dogs. So that helps so very much. And if you have questions, please comment below and I'll respond. You can also head over to Facebook and send me a message that way as well. If you want to keep your questions private, you can private message me at Gentle Grace Trying on Facebook, or Instagram, even you can DM me. So the other thing that you have to do if you're freezer mealing is keep an inventory list, because you're gonna forget what's in there, how much, and I don't want my hands in a cold freezer digging around, because I did it for a while and I resisted the inventory list, which was just silly. So I created my own, a Gentle Grace Trying, and it's got, you write down your item, the date, and then how many you have, and you can check it off. So my actual list looks like this, and I keep it on the side of my fridge. So I've got spinach tortilla soup. I made it on September 30th of, that's wrong, it was 2018, not 2017. And we ate one and I had 2 extra. So I lined through, I didn't have 6 extra, I had 2 extra. But then down for a paleo chicken stew, I had 3 extra. So I lined through the 3, and then I'll check off them as we use it. So I no longer have spinach chicken roll-ups. My family loves this. We tend to eat like Mexican or Italian. I don't know. It's being from Southern California, and then I am Italian. So, you know, down here, I've got chicken enchiladas. That's what I pulled out for today. And then I'm gonna mark that off that I have 1 less in my freezer, so that I've got on the side of my fridge what's available in my freezer, and I don't have to freeze my booty off. So let's go check out what my freezer looks like. Join me. Okay guys, so this is my ugly stand-up freezer. I have dreams of painting this with like chalk paint. so that I can like write fun stuff on it because it's in our garage and right now it's just ugly. But honestly, I bought it for $50 on Facebook Marketplace. It's, you know, not for decor, just functionality. But I have on here like freezer storage cheat sheet that came from Once a Month Meals. You know, just safety guidelines. The other thing that I want to tell you before we go in here, or as we go in here, is that the safe way to do things is to, if you're gonna defrost like that chicken, you put it in the fridge. Do not leave it on your countertop. It is not safe. So up here we've got soups, like right here. This is extra chicken broth from a chicken noodle soup or a chicken tortilla soup that I made. I had just a ton of extra broth, so I'm like, oh, that'd be good for when we're sick. I didn't need it in the chicken tortilla soups because I had all of like the goodies in there. I just had a ton of extra broth. So I was like, well, why waste this? These are extra diced tomatoes and onions and spices that are gonna go with this guy in my crock pot or my Instant Pot tonight to start chicken noodle soup. Here's chili. This potato corn chowder that's a Southwest potato corn chowder is delicious. Back there hiding are some lentil soups. That's when I was writing it on the containers like a ding dong. I've gotten better. So those are the soups. Back here, I've got in mason jars, leave room because it expands. This is chicken broth. It says it somewhere. Oh, again, ding dong, I wrote it on top. I've gotten smarter, guys, in the past like 2 months about this stuff. Here's some extra tomato sauce. Like, why let that go bad? What else do we have back here? Oh, more tomato sauce. This was extra enchilada sauce. When I made my chicken enchiladas, I had a ton left over. Why would I let that guy go bad? So I put him in a little mason jar. Over here, I have stuff like, this is a good one. This is a good example. So when I do my chili, I use 1 chipotle pepper and adobo sauce. Well, the chicken enchilada also happened to call for 1 chipotle pepper and adobo sauce. So that week, I made both the chili and the chicken enchiladas and bought like a little thing of chipotle pepper and adobo sauce. It came with more than 2. It came with like 10. So instead of throwing that away, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 extras. And I'm pretty sure I used another one. So remember, I doubled my chili recipe. I used one for my chicken enchilada recipe. I used 2 for my chicken enchilada recipe, and I've used 1. So that's 4, 7. Like, why throw them away? I'm just gonna individually wrap them in plastic wrap and freeze them, and I just throw them in frozen. Same with beef broth, which is over here somewhere. Again, not my favorite way. I've tried to move to mason jars. I just need to buy more you're gonna get a thing of beef broth for $1.29 or $1.99, and you're only gonna use a cup, let's say, for your chili, or 2 cups if you're doubling it. Freeze the rest for the next time. So you don't have to buy chipotle chilies. You don't have to buy beef broth. So what do we have in here? Here I have, see, I did beef broth wrong. There's 2 cups of beef broth for the next time I make my chili recipe. I'm being attacked a little bit. This happens in a freezer. So here's some ground beef. Take all the air out of it, squish it. There's 2 pounds. Again, that will marry with that 2 cups of beef broth, and that'll make chili. This CTS is chicken tortilla soup. These are those containers I was talking about that I use for lunch portions for my husband and I. Look at how many I have. Chicken tortilla soup, lentil soup. This is my husband. Oh, talk about sexy. He portioned them out for me. I think it was a busy night, and I was like, hey, hun, can you do this for me? And he even labeled them. Isn't he just a little put and pop? I was so proud of him. He labeled him. That's my handwriting. I was like, this is sexy. This is what I find sexy, people. So those are lunch type things. Here is chicken enchiladas and, whoop, something failed. Let's see, chicken parmesan. And down at the very bottom, we've got like the kids' frozen pizzas and stuff. But that's sort of a tour of what my freezer looks like. Oh, and there's popsicles down there. And frozen fish, I think, is the very, very bottom little bag. But it's awesome. I can see everything. It's organized. It makes sense to me. What's this random little friend we have? Oh, bell peppers. I had a bunch of extra bell peppers when making, I think it was that same chicken enchilada. And I was like, hey, I'm going to put them in a freezer bag and keep them instead of making them go to waste. Thanks for joining me, guys. I hope you guys got a lot of good tips that you can take away and hack them and make them your own. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. Like the video if you liked anything I had to say. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get notifications whenever I have a new video up. And I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye.